there. Going. You're live. Okay.
Does it say we're live?
It just said it on there. Oh, there we go. So let's see if we can see something. There we go. YouTube Live. There we go. YouTube Live. Boom.
Wait, say that again.
That was my phone. Test 1, 2, 3. Can we hear me? Hello. How's everybody doing tonight? My American shoes. My American shoes. I can listen to this song forever though. I gotta listen to this song forever though.
This is weird.
Oh, we got 4. Oh, yeah. Look at that. People showing up on the Facebook. I see you guys out there.
Stop. Stop texting people.
Oh, I see a frowny face on the screen. Come on, let's get that heart in there.
How do I copy this? I am not on the radio.
Yeah, okay. So what do we need to do?
Nothing. That's true.
I mean, still live here.
Yeah. We might come on here. Boom, boom, boom.
The first thing you did was through the
Welcome, everybody. We were having technical difficulties. Not our fault, I don't think. I meant some of it
Hopefully
probably.
But I did spill my drink when I first came in. I didn't tell you about it.
That's
So
good.
sorry about that.
I don't know what the oh man, that meant. So in full disclosure, when we got here, there was a dead cockroach, like a huge dead cockroach on the ground, which I was afraid. Jeff actually threw it away. But I didn't tell him I was afraid. He just kind of took over it, which I'm grateful for.
Of course, man. I didn't want the dead cockroach here in here either, so it's all good.
So yeah, apparently we are not on the radio, which is what we want to be on. The radio thing is down, and we are just on the YouTube, and we are just newsflash.
Oh,
My Ray-Bans. Oh my gosh.
so someone has been in here a while then,
Yeah.
because those are nice. Somebody would have took those.
Right. Oh, thank God. Boy, that's so weird. Oh, I love these sunglasses. Oh, okay. Anyway, so there's a huge cockroach. The radio's down. I don't know what's going on. And so we are just on YouTube Live, and we are just on Facebook Live. So awesome. So I had this wonderful joke planned out that was going to be with the music, and now it's going to be dumb. Now we're just, you and I are going to be the only ones that hear this music. So cool. Good. Yeah, no. Okay, well, we'll figure it out. I'll send an email to Dawn. I've been very hesitant to contact them because I don't want them to know we exist, because I want to be able to do stuff without. So if I feel like if I get them involved, then they become involved. And I'm just trying to ignore that.
That makes sense.
Well, hey, welcome to WDSR, but we're not on the radio. Again, you can follow us on YouTube. It is adulting with adulting kind of with ZNJ, our new Instagram handle, right? So we finally got it changed. It is adulting _with _ZNJ. So check us out on Instagram. We're getting some traction there. And then if you have any complaints, which I'm sure you will after tonight, you can adultingwithznj@gmail.com. So I'm so pumped I found these Ray-Bans. I may wear those tonight just so I never forget. I'm just going to get in so much trouble for losing them.
Trouble?
Well, I guess they were a present. They were a present for me.
Gotcha.
Even though I told her, hey, listen, I'm going to lose these. And the fact that they've lasted this far, thus far, is a feat that they would not have been able to predict. Hey, I wanted to give a quick shout out to the Southside Barber Shop.
Ooh,
Jocelyn
nice.
Gray, she cut me up today. Did a stupendous. It was the longest haircut I've ever had. But she was just like paying. She was like a surgeon in there, which really appreciated. Got rid of my light blonde hair, not my gray hair, light blonde.
Hey, man, the price of beauty takes a little bit of time. It's all good.
Oh yeah. And it was cool because it was next to that club that got shut down, the Sky Bar.
Oh yeah.
Like it was like 2 streets from there. So.
Did you hear about what it was about?
Yeah, good. Well, good thing they closed down. But again, she's great. Luckily, I think you can book an appointment with her. She did a great job.
Nice.
Anybody's looking to get cut up. Jeff, you got a new haircut we were talking about. You look very fresh.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Do you have any gray hair?
No.
No. See, neither do I.
So we're good.
I'm glad we're both ungraded. Hey, tonight's episode. So, a couple different things tonight. First one's gonna be easy, right? Trying new things, right?
Nice.
It's that time of year and just what it feels like, the hesitancy. We all have that. A lot of us like to get in that comfort zone. We like to stay there. We like to hang out there. I love the comfort zone.
Of course.
So
cozy in here, man.
Absolutely.
Kick your feet up, everything.
You're right. Yes. We're going to talk about that. And then we're going to do, I have it written down, but I'm going to call it life hacks or class hacks, right? Just some insider information from two, older students, that some things that you may want to do coming up, like in this next semester that maybe you haven't thought about. And some of them, I'm not going to call them unethical, but they're, you'll see it's the system's in place. And if we can find loopholes in those systems, let's do that. So, and it's nothing unethical. It's nothing crazy. But
I was about to get my notepad out. I was like, "Oh, this sounds good." What?
Let's hope so. And then we're going to end the story or end the evening tonight with just a weird trend I've been noticing that's a little bit scary. So we'll talk about that. And then eventually, what is going to happen is I am going to unleash on my sister. Right. So there is going to be. It's going to have nothing to do with anybody. But what I would like to do is I'd like to have a recorded session where I am doing nothing. Not a recorded session, but I want 7, 5, maybe 3 minutes of me destroying my sister, who is my rival in fantasy football. We're in a league. And
okay, I'm like, hopefully this is like prompted and wanted, right?
Of course. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and the nice thing is she won't respond to me because the only time she responds to me is when she needs me to watch her kids. So, I'll be free from her wrath, but I want it to be out there in the world so she sees it every night. So, hey, hopefully, tonight we were supposed to get a bunch. Not supposed to, but I was hoping we'd get a bunch of new listeners, right? So there was a freshman. It was called Fast Freshman something. I don't know.
I couldn't tell you what the acronym is, but FAST.
Right. So I was up in the union during the lunch, and so I had a table, and people would come in and ask about the media, right? The newspaper, the radio, and then DSTV, which I'm not too familiar with, but it was cool. I mostly just gave inaccurate information about directions, which I do apologize. I get confused very easily, and I get nervous. So we'll talk about that. Or I was hoping. So a lot of when I was able to pass out some flyers, we got cool new flyers. I am so stoked for these flyers that are going to be coming up. Jody, you did such a good job on those. I'm super, super excited to blast those all over campus. So, it was funny though, right? Watching this, like, you're sitting at this table. So it's to set the stage, right? So Duquesne has like a freshman orientation, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a bunch of students, young people with their parents. And it is nothing but awkward interactions. And I love those two. Like, those are my favorite thing. Like, you'll see a dad who's like trying to talk to a 20-year-old, sophomore, and like the language barrier is different, and like the dad is trying to be funny, kind of, and the kid doesn't want to, or the student doesn't want to be there, and it's like this. Those interactions don't happen in the real world very often. I love when that happens.
like a train wreck in slow motion.
But that's that's part of the comfort zone. We got to get out of that a little bit. And, it's sometimes it's almost it's not different vocabularies, but it's just different exposures, different. It's so fascinating to me, and I love it. And sometimes I get a little bit in trouble. I wouldn't say in trouble, but I do a little bit of inappropriateness. I say stuff maybe I should think about before I say, especially when you're meeting new people, which has never been my strong suit, is stopping, thinking, processing before I speak. That's something that I work on tremendously in therapy. So, but it was good. And listen, it brings me back to this, like my first introduction into kid. And if I told this story before, I apologize. Switch the channel, turn it off. I mean, we've already screwed up enough tonight. I made you listen to the theme song twice and all that good stuff.
It's a good song, man.
It is a great song. Man, I'm so mad we can't put this on the radio. It's such a good joke. Not such a good joke, but it was.
We'll have it ready for next week.
Yeah, but it won't be relevant. Anyway, so my first time here, right? I'll never forget. I drove up here, and it was a transfer orientation, and it started out in the gym, and I tried to find my way to Pittsburgh. I finally get here. I was probably late, and I go into the auditorium, and I felt so out of place. Like it was because there was a lot of like young people and their parents, and there I was like I'm closer obviously to the age of the parents than I am to the students, and I just feel so weird. And like there was every nerve in my body, like every cell was screaming at me, just Zach, just leave, like just leave, just go. You're in Pittsburgh for the day, just go explore that. Like what can you really learn about this place anyway? And what ended up happening was we had this like luncheon, right? So and again, it was so, I can't tell you how awkward I felt. And I didn't have anybody there with me, it would have been inappropriate if I did, right? Both my parents are dead. Like who am I gonna bring with? I could bring my grandmother, but she would have cried the whole time. No, I'm just kidding. She would have been awesome there, but it was just inappropriate. This was something I was doing on my own, whatever. And I remember sitting at a lunch table, like a table. And when Duquesne does these kind of luncheons, they go all out. Like it's not a cafeteria. They cater. It is a very special kind of event. They really do a great job with it. So I'm sitting at this table with my papers and stuff like that, and I'm so like, again, I am just screaming, please, like I have to get out of here. And this group of student ambassadors, they all came, they all sat with me, and they had lunch with me, and it was such a good experience. Like they were so welcoming and so kind, so warm, just like you were, Jeff. Like just every experience here was like that, and it was just such a great time. And I see some of those people on campus right now, and then I'll wave to them, or I really appreciated that. And it's hard when you're doing something new. It's hard for, I think, sometimes us to put our shoes on in the other person, right, to see it in their eyes. So it was really a good experience, and I'm so glad I stayed, right? Even though every inkling in me was telling me, and I kid you not, like it was straight up, I'm leaving this place right now. Like I'll just come back in the fall, figure it out later. I'll do it on my own. And I am so glad I didn't. And I ended up getting a great contact for the newspaper. I ended up getting a great contact for the history and for student government. So it was actually a very good and very helpful experience. So I guess my advice when it comes to, doing something new, and the same thing happened to me this week, right? Started this new job. I'm coaching soccer. Oh, by the way, just as a disclaimer, and I know this is wrong to think this way, but I can't help it. If your kid is bad, right? Like if your kid is like ornery or loud or annoying or whatever, like I automatically judge you as a bad parent. That's just happening. I don't know you as a parent. I don't know what you've been through, but the initial thought process that is coming into my head is, wow, you're really bad at parenting. you're bad at this. You should maybe not try. And again, that's wrong. That's wrong. I'm just telling you that the initial thought process is.
I think you're angry at the kids when they're not doing what you say in soccer.
Oh yeah, I'd be angry all the time. No, they're great group of kids. Great, they're so much fun. They're
Pretty sure they're a handful.
They're definitely a handful. It's a bunch of them. I think someone accurately described it as herding cats. So, and I don't know anything about soccer either. So, and I'm not coordinated, and I look weird when I run. So I probably do like we may have our next like David Beck. I don't even know who plays soccer, but like we may have our next big soccer star, and I am corrupting them unintentionally because of how bad and uncoordinated and unathletic I am, just so I can make $14 an hour. So
please. You'll be the soccer director in no time. Keep it up.
Yeah, I hope not, man. In America, we will still not care about soccer. Like, I am not helping with that discussion. But the same thing happened to me, right? So this week, and I was late to every practice. So I have to drive 40 anyway. But I felt the same thing, the screaming inside of me. Everything was telling me, don't do this, leave. It's not that big a deal to find something else to do. And I stuck with it, and it ends up being rewarding, right? Yeah. And I get it. You have to trust your gut most of the time. It is what's kept you alive for your point of life. That is what kept you alive, generations before you. That gut feeling is so important.
Absolutely.
But sometimes when you're trying new things, we are breaking away from our core group, when we're getting out of that comfort zone, you have to do it. You have to do it, and that is growth, right? And growth requires awkwardness. You feel weird, right? Remember when you were a kid and you were growing up, and we were physically growing in different directions, right? Growing pains is literally what they were called. It's an awkward kind of thing. So don't be afraid of growth. The experiences that can happen from it. And that is, again, how we expand. That's how we expand our minds. That's how we expand our language. That's how we expand our cultures and customs and all these great things. So my advice, obviously, to the new freshmen that are coming in, I am so sorry our station isn't up tonight. That is, this is essentially what you're paying for $32,000 a year on a radio station that doesn't work. But for the incoming freshmen, don't be afraid. And even the students that are here now, and even if you're not a student, even whoever's out there, that growth is very important to your survival, to the surviving of your soul. So with that, we are going to go to our commercial break, which means nothing because nobody can hear us on the radio. So, yeah, son of a gun. Well, okay. It is Jim. It is your birthday, and I wanted to play. He's one great human being, great guy, and he was in the Navy. So I was going to dedicate this entire show's radio breaks, song breaks to him, starting with the first one. And you guys probably can't hear it at home.
That's really good. Oh, the worst. Was it sound issues?
I don't know.
In the Navy.
Oh, I went wrong on that one.
Oh. Just look at the page for Dedicate. Oh my god, that's so good.
In the Navy. All right, and we're back. Sorry about that. Yeah, I am so mad that that radio is.
Today is the day we do that.
Of course it would. That's okay. That's okay. We're going to power through it because I do want to go over this next section. So what we'll probably do is I'm going to save this rant. We're probably just going to go over this next section. We might just cut out early. Just might cut out early. I'm going to send an email. We'll get this figured out hopefully next week. So yeah, we'll figure this out. So and what's important for us too is that we have it on the YouTube so we can chop it up and all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I thought this next section for the evening would be we would do a section on school hacks, right? School life hacks. So it's coming up, and these are some things that you may not think about because A, you're a normal person and you don't think about this kind of stuff, or B, because you're new to the situation. So I'm just going to give some things that I've picked up on, and Jeff, feel free to jump in on anything that you've picked up down the road or on your educational quest. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the first day, right? So the first day, every class, I don't know what it is, but you will always have to do that stupid thing where you have to do the introduce yourself game, right? It is so dumb. It is. It's even if you're, in these upper echelon classes, it's the same thing. It's nuts, and it's always first name, last name, major, where you're from, and then say something funny and interesting about yourself.
Or why'd you take this class?
Sure, absolutely. It's very much, and I don't think anybody retains the information during that game because we're all so nervous about speaking. So you're thinking about what you're going to say, and then you say it, and then you think in your head, like, oh my gosh, do I sound dumb or whatnot? So just get ready for that. Maybe
it's gonna be fun.
Think of a funny quip before you get on the air. You're not on the air, Jesus. Before you get into class, because every class you're going to do that. You're going to do your name class, and then you're going to do the syllabus, right? The syllabus is going to go over, and there's important stuff on that information, but it's going to be the majority of the front of it and the majority of the back of it are going to be the same things: harassment policies, in case of emergencies, call-off policies, things like that. So it's a lot of boredom, and it's a lot of repetitiveness. So just get ready for that for the first day. And then the dress thing is weird, right? And I think we've talked about this on the show before. Your first day, it doesn't matter. People dress however you feel the most comfortable in. If you want to get dressed up, that's fine. There's going to be plenty of students dressed up like that. If you want to just roll out of bed, shirt and tie, whatever. It does not matter. Do not get caught up on that. However you feel you want to present yourself for the first time, absolutely nobody cares. Everybody has seen it. You will not be the most peculiar person. It doesn't matter. There's no dress code here. You can literally wear anything, and some people do, especially during the summertime. So just be prepared for that.
Be comfy. Be comfy. That's the main thing.
Right.
Be expect to be like sitting in somewhere for a couple hours.
Right. And I can't tell you. I'm the type of person the Marine Corps ruined me, where I'm so afraid. Like, I don't wear athletic wear in public. Don't do it. Don't wear white shirts in public. Like, I don't stick my hands in my pockets. I don't carry an umbrella. Like, there are things that the Marine Corps kind of puts into you. And I remember I was in my sports history class, and I was looking, and everybody else had athletic wear on, like those cool athletic pants. I'm the only weirdo in jeans. I'm just showing my age, showing me. So that is something to think about, and think about not thinking about it. So that's the best way to put it. So here's something that I think is really important. So the first day of the class, right? Most of the time, not every time, especially you have one of these bigger classrooms and stuff like that. But for the smaller classes, which is most of Duquesne, the first day is going to be mostly your assigned seat, right? So you don't have essentially assigned seating, but the professor is going to ask you to sit in the same spot all year round, right?
So they can remember who you are.
Right.
Hey, call on you. This is where Jeff likes to sit. Or hey, Jeff's not here today. That seat's empty.
Yeah, which makes 100% sense, which makes absolutely great sense. So here's some things that you should think about, right? There's two things that you should think about when it comes to that. The first one is get close to the door, right? So, and I'm not talking just for safety issues. The reason I think the best way to sit in front of the door or close to the door is because you're going to be late one day. And if your seat is on the other side of class, you gotta disturb it and feel weird.
Worst.
Oh my god, it is literally. I literally skipped class because I swear to God, I was 10, 15 minutes late. Nope, not gonna do that. So that's something to think about. Also, you are most likely going to do some type of group work within your time in that class. Not every class, but most classes you're going to have to do some group work. Always try to sit next to a person that looks smart, right?
No.
That's not foolproof. It's not foolproof, but maybe we don't want to sit by the I know this is going to sound, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. Maybe we don't want to sit by the offensive lineman. Right? Maybe we don't want to sit by the shooting guard, right? Maybe we want to sit next to the rower or, the women's swim team or, somebody who's not in any sports or,
Definitely makes sense.
Also, we avoid the back row, right? And there is a specific reason for the avoiding the back row. And this is going to sound so crazy, but it's true.
I got a story for that as soon as you're done.
when you have handouts, right? Or when you take attendance on the thing, if you're in the back row, you have to get up and move. Like you have to physically move. Like there's an act that is required from the people in the back row to get that sign out sheet, to get that handout. And it's disturbing, and you don't know which way did this come from. It's nuts. So you can avoid that aggravation altogether. So you can get in the close to the door in the first couple rows, and that way you don't look like anything. Get next to a couple bright, quiet young people. You're set for the semester. Chuck, what were you going to say off the back row?
Oh, absolutely. I would say there's like a T zone. So like front row, that's where I usually try to go for, or in front of the professor.
Sure.
So whoever teaching right there, that way there's less distractions. Because 2 rows back, then you start seeing people typing, you start seeing who's texting, who's doing whatever. And for me, it's very distracting. I can't stand seeing somebody. One class I had, I literally watched this girl shop on Best Buy the whole time. And I could not focus for the life of me.
That's, what, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, in my intro to poetry class, I had this guy, he just watched football YouTube highlights the entire time. And I'm like, this is what we're doing.
It's so fun. Well, another guy, I love him to death, but he would watch soccer. And then he would get into it, and I would slowly get into it. And I'm like, oh, no, I got to focus. And then I'd start getting into it. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to sit next to this guy. But the crown jewel, I had this one night class where this girl would just type, she would text, she would write on the tablet, she would do 3 different things while this guy's going. It's a night class, so it's 3 hours. So you have to, at the end of the day, you got to sit there, you got to pretty much just power through it. Because for me, those classes, hour, I'm done. My brain shuts off.
Yeah.
But then watching this girl, she applied to an internship, she applied to the FBI. Yeah, me too. I hope she did too. But nothing but the best for her, because she was able to multitask like a maniac. But literally applied for the FBI. I'll never forget that. She also applied to law school while in this class, just writing on a tablet. And I remember just watching her take notes on the wrong slide. And it was just the most distracting thing ever. And I was with another classmate known from the Veterans Center, which, hey, I'm like, oh, yeah, no, what's up, man? Let's go learn together. And sure enough, just because of that, I'm like, I can't sit with you, man. She's right there. It's so distracting. I can't do it. And we both just Like, hey, did you see that girl applying for the Yes. That's the only thing I saw the whole class.
So yeah, that's another great point. Yeah, if you sit in the front row, you get to choose what's on YouTube. You get to choose what everybody's watching. Yeah, that's perfect. That's great. So again, things we don't think about. Excellent class. That's excellent. Excellent. Next thing I want to go to, and this is a big one, and it's going to sound like it's brown nosing, but it is not, right? So there's a science to this, I believe. So when you have to do like a project or sit up or talk in front of the class, I highly, highly, highly recommend being the first one to do it, right? And it's not so you look like a kiss butt or anything like that. I'm sure that goes into it.
Over and done with.
Well, of course, the anxiety is absolutely
done.
inducing, and you don't have to worry about it and think about it. And it's good to set your time limit. You know when you're going to go, because if you're the third or fourth person, you might go Monday or you might go Wednesday. But the real reason I think you should do that for your grade is because everybody looks at professors like they're these like wizards. They're just human beings. So when you are the first person on their slate, there is no one else to judge the other classes. You set the bar, right? So they're going to grade lighter on you because there's no one else to kind of, compare your presentation to. So every time I go first, I always get an A because I'm prepared, and it's definitely not the best presentation in the class. I definitely screw up, but I know.
Then you start the groundwork for the others. Like now you guys are looking a little better. You're welcome.
Absolutely, and the teacher, they're getting in their groove of grading, right? Like they're getting the rubrics, they're feeling it out, and most of the time, I think as I said, teachers especially, in the arts. Which is where most of the project or the presentations happen. But anyway, they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. They're going to lean nicer and then get rough, right? So as you'll see through the semesters, as your papers get graded, as the presentators go on, I believe that is just a human core element where we are going to mostly lean on acceptance more than rejections when it comes to educators.
We'll see, you're also the first one in the fire too, so they're very lenient on that.
Absolutely.
I will say a joke that you're going to hear a lot of time is, hey, who wants to present first? Don't all present at once. You're going to hear that every single time.
Absolutely.
And if you can cut that joke off, I think they look at you much more favorable.
Yep. So that's one. Another one I have is, so some classes you have to do this. They have a participation. Right, which there's no way they can actually keep participation. I think I did have a professor who actually put tally marks, but he was a psycho. But for the most part, so here is my suggestion for that, right? Especially, I like to participate in class because I like when people hear me talk, obviously. However, when you participate, or when participate is required and it's part of your grade, what I've come to realize is if you participate at the end of class, that way you're still fresh in the professor's head, right? Oh, did Emily, the student, participate today? Well, she sure did. I remember she was the last person that said anything. Maybe it doesn't have to be about, maybe it doesn't have to do with anything, but that is how you do it. So if you're afraid to participate, I would participate towards closer to midterms, closer to your final grade, and towards the end of class.
I will say, I think the professors, I've yet to have the tally mark one. That just sounds like an interesting class. But I think they just go off of, do they recognize who you are?
Sure.
Have you contributed whatsoever? Because even if it's wrong, hey, you're trying, hey, I'm engaging with the material. Or if you really, really don't like participating, just tell them, hey, I'm a shy person. I will try my best, but hey, I'm a little shy.
You're going with the upfront. You're going. Wow.
It worked a few times. Some people are whatever. But then they know who you are though, so they know showing up as well. I think is half the battle. But then once they know you, I think the participation just goes up. You show up, you're here, you do what you can. They're usually happy with that.
Oh, that's interesting. Excellent. Yeah, do that way. Or you can do what I do and just talk way too much, and they'll just say, "Shut up, Marxist!" Get out of here. So so that's another thing. Something else that I feel that is really important, especially for incoming students, and maybe not, just incoming students, but students that you're gonna. it's okay to do bad on your first quiz. It's almost expected. And this is more like the science and the math. I've had classes where I was way in over my head, and I didn't know how they were going to grade and things like that. So do not lose hope. Don't give up. It is included in the rubric for you to do bad on your first quiz. You don't know what questions that are asked. You don't know the type of thing. If you do really well on the first quiz, you're probably very, very educated. You're probably very smart, or the class is too easy, and you don't have to really worry about it anyway. But that first quiz, and my first time back in school, I had a quiz. I did so bad on it. He's like, oh gosh, I had to drop it, and he had to talk me off the roof, and I ended up, I swear to gosh, I ended up getting an A in the class, and I don't know anything about astrology or astronomy. I said astrology. Wait, oh my gosh, I don't know anything about astronomy, but I learned how she graded. I changed my study habits and things like that. So
that's literally what it is for. Just to, like, change shift, whatever you're doing, because literally that's what the midterm is for too. Now, if you bomb every single one and bomb the midterm, then we got to start talking about
absolutely
maybe trying the class over again. But ultimately, it's like just, hey, not doing so well. Maybe I need to shift something. Maybe I need to talk to the professor. What's going on? But ultimately, like you said, it's not the end of the world. You will do fine.
Yeah, and you can still get an A. I mean, you can still get an A. I don't think Duquesne has A pluses, right? I think they have A's
Some
and A
classes
minuses.
do, yeah.
Okay, so and then that's still there. Like it is fine. It is literally worked into the big GP or the GP in there, the grading points in there. So you will be fine. And
yeah,
let that ego get hit.
Yeah,
you'll be all right.
I will say that's also a good segue for the next one too. I would say if you got the capability, don't chase that 4.0. I mean, if you can achieve it, please do. But if it's your sole focus that, like, I have to maintain this 4.0, it's going to cause you a lot of stress.
Sure.
I mean, if you can maintain, if you can do it, sure. But if it's like, oh crap, I'm not going to be able to do anything because I can't maintain a 4.0, don't try not to stress about it.
George W. Bush had the famous quote, C's get degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So and that is very true. The world is run by C students. Maybe that's why we're in a recession. But that is true. C's get degrees, and it's all right. And that's a great point. And there is something that I guess would be a little more closer to a critique. So in education, and this isn't. I hate to sound like an old guy, but I'm going to. I hate saying this, but I'm going to. In the real world, this is not real advice, but effort does go a long way in school, right? It seems like in the real world, especially depending on what career path you go to, it's result driven. However, in education, there does seem to be a lot of leniency, a lot of give if you are putting in the effort. I had my grade changed a whole letter grade, not a whole letter grade. It went from a C to a B because the guy said you put in an excellent amount of effort. It was a math class. It was tough. I was getting my butt kicked. I was there. I was in the tutoring. I swear to gosh, 3 times a week. And I did it, and I understood the basic concepts. My mistakes were, and there were some mistakes. And so effort does go a long way, and that is something. And I don't think that type of information is good to carry on into the real world because I just don't think it's applicable. But while you're in higher education, I do think that you can work with that.